days, if you're talking about medical dramas with a bit of steam, a bit of sizzle, you can't go past Dr McDreamy and his mates on Grey's Anatomy.
Definitely not. But from 1976 to 1983, TV's hottest hospital was on The Young Doctors. The Young Doctors was a hospital soap that got the blood pressure rising.
Steel has been... Oh, quickly!
Please up together, nurse.
Handsome doctors worked the wards,
I don't need one of your lectures, Livingston.
while sexy nurses paraded around in slinky pink pinafores.
Ah, well, just the guy I wanted to see.
There was a romance epidemic at the Albert Hospital.
You don't love Tony. You're in love with me.
Exactly how pregnant are you?
But stern Sister Scott did her best to keep the staff in check.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you, Doctor. It's just going to be one of those days, that's all.
Now you look at the Queen. Never see her without a hat.
Down at the kiosk, Ada and Dennis dished out hot gossip with lunch. When the romance and medical dramas got a little too heavy, the action moved to local nightclub Bunny's Place. Well, the Young Doctors ran for an amazing 1,396 episodes.
It was the longest-running drama of its time. For some strange reason, the show never won an award, but viewers couldn't get enough of it.
Well, tonight, the cast is back together again just for us. Please welcome Karen Pini.
Chris King.
Judy McBurney.
Tim Page.
Rebecca Gilling.
And Cornelia Francis.
Wow, what a welcome. And welcome to all
Half
of you.
of them
Lovely to see
weren't even born. Oh, some of you were, that's nice. Hello.
Well, those that weren't, let's educate them. Now, obviously, today's medical dramas go all out to make things look as realistic as possible. Was that the case with you guys? And Cornelia, if I was admitted to the Albert Memorial, would I have made it out alive?
No, you'd die. I don't know how any patient actually walked out of the Albert Memorial with the things that we were doing, or not, and the words that you had to say. I'm sure they got all the X-rays mixed up and all sorts of things. Oh, it was hilarious. It really was.
Judy, did you have any training at all?
Oh, yes. We were taught how to put needles into oranges. And,
That's useful.
and I don't like needles, so I used to put my needle into the orange with my eyes closed, and the doctor said, Judy, you can't do that. You have to open your eyes and watch the needle going in. And then when it was time, but I didn't, and so when it was time for me to put the needle into the patient, which was really into the mattress of the bed, I'd still close my eyes, and the actors were always a little bit worried because, well, I didn't stab anybody, but I think there were a few, near misses.
Chris, you played lovable Dennis, the orderly, for 6 years.
Yep.
But I understand the show got off to a bit of a shaky start.
Yeah, we actually got axed.
That's shaky.
It is very shaky, yeah. We were waiting, and we actually started in the same time as the Sullivans in Melbourne. And basically, I think the idea was at 9 we're going to look at taking one of the shows on. Anyway, we all got called in and said, that's it. All the smart people ran for the red phone in those days to ring your agent, I'm back on the market. And then somehow the word was out that that probably wasn't a great decision. Nine took a survey during the summer, and Doctors was rating its head off, so we all got told, you're back on.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of your scenes were with Gwen Plum, though, weren't they? Ada in the canteen, and you just seemed to stand around gossiping all day. Was that fun?
Well, it was. We were lucky in as much as we were story carriers, so that our characters moved throughout the hospital, where often the doctors have to be in casualty or the nurses. So it was fun, and of course Gwen Plum is an absolute institution, and it's a privilege to ever have worked with Gwen Plum, I've got to tell you. She was fabulous.
But Tim, it was an amazing hospital because your career could just skyrocket. You started as an intern and then ended up running the place. That's amazing. You are so bright.
It was a meteoric rise through the ranks, I have to say, in 6.5 years. But I think there was about 5 of us that started on the one day. Yes, it was. I could see from the part that it was an authoritative stern person, so I did a sort of a Glenda Jackson imitation, I thought, and got the role, which was a kind of a surprise.
Against type.
Maybe I should go for Parliament next.
Talking about stern, though, Cornelia.
What?
You were a cranky old cow, weren't you?
Absolutely. She was a martinet. She could get cranky, but she got people better. Because she was very stern and she knew exactly what she was doing. She ran her staff with a rod of iron and people pulled through.
But a lot happened to Sister Scott, though.
Oh,
She
fell
went
down
through
a
everything.
lift shaft. I got raped 3 times. I got poisoned. I left at the altar. You know, not much more could have happened to old Scotty except death.
And what about in real life? Did you ever find that people couldn't differentiate between you and
They
the
still
character?
can't.
Really?
No,
What, they think you're...
defy me to smile. They don't think I can. You know, the lips are firmly there. They still run away in supermarkets when they see me coming.
Now, girls, tell us about the pink pinafores were fairly snug, weren't they? Could they have got any tighter?
No, it was like wearing a corset, really, wasn't it?
Breathe.
I remember actually taking a deep breath in and going in there so that they wouldn't take them in anymore, because if you did lose any weight at all, they'd actually just run them in again.
I used to do that
sit
too.
down very well.
Yeah.
This was good for your posture.
Breathe in, breathe
Yes.
out.
Sit like this all the time.
The only practical thing we wore were our shoes, I think.
Now, Karen, talking about uniforms, you were famous for getting your gear off as a Playboy centrefold. Were you nervous about going into the acting business, though?
I was, because it was going from like a modelling career into television was pretty scary, and it was so full on because 5 episodes in a week. It was like go, 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 go. You didn't have time to breathe, and I was there going, oh my God, what am I doing here? And realised very quickly that I didn't like being an actress, but I wanted to be a presenter, so that was the difference. So it was good because I knew that what I wasn't going to do, which was acting.
Now, Rebecca, your character went from being a nurse to a doctor pretty much overnight.
Well, a psychologist
Yes,
rather
yeah.
than a psychiatrist. Yes.
So that was meteoric rise, another one.
Well, it was. I left the hospital on Friday
You
afternoon
sounded very
in a
official
little
then,
pink
psychologist rather
uniform,
than psychiatrist. You're really getting into the lingo. Very impressive.
and came back on Monday morning, pulled the psychology degree out of my back pocket and set up my shingle.
And you couldn't take it too seriously, I suppose.
Definitely not. No, we didn't have time to take anything seriously. It was all done in one take. If you didn't, we weren't allowed to stop in the middle of a take. If we made a mistake, you had to plough on. This was again what Karen was talking about, being an excellent training ground, particularly for stage work, because there was no stopping, and they let the most awful things go through. So as the time went on, I think you learned if you really wanted another take, you actually had to stop. And
Gwen had a great formula the first day that I worked on it, and she got me aside and she said, listen, don't believe anything they say. If you blow it, you've got to drop the magic word. And she said, I'll show you how it's done. So it goes along, and sure enough, true.
Yes.
And everyone was shocked because everyone had sort of Gwen, who was a fantastic woman, but probably I always thought of this great dame of Australian theatre and television. And so she did. So sure enough, she said, no, you've got to do it. And make sure you do it 2 or 3 times so they really can't edit it. She was right.
Now, when the doctors and nurses needed some time away from the Albert Memorial, they used to duck down to Bunny's Bar for a glass of Moselle or Cinzano.
Very highbrow. The owner was Bunny Howard, played by comedian Ugly Dave Gray.
Well, Ugly Dave was a great bloke, but acting wasn't his strong suit.
Let's hustle and bump.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Come on, just follow me.
Oh! No, really, I think I'll be happy just watching them.
This is just the beginning, Edna. We're going to have a dance every night after closing.
Hard to believe, but somehow Dave missed a Logie nomination that year. And he couldn't make it here tonight, but he did send this message.
Hi, Dave and Mel and all the gang from The Young Doctor. I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight, but I'm working. I'm not acting, but I'm working. But I do have some happy memories of The Young Doctors. One day I got a phone call from Graham Kennedy, and he said, Dave, I'm starting a new show called Blankety Blanks, and I want you to be a regular on it. I said, oh, but I'm acting now. He said, I've seen you. This is why I'm ringing you. I want you to be a regular on the show, be my sidekick. So I went to the producer of The Young Doctors, and I said, I want to give 4 weeks' notice. He said, you can't leave. We've built your part up to one of the big parts in the show. I said, but I want to kind of sell the place maybe and leave town and say, come back in a few months. I was trying to leave the door open, you see. Anyway, he said, I'll talk to the writers. So when we came to episode 65, the last episode, I looked at the script and I got a heart attack and I died. That was their way of saying, you're not coming back. But look, I've got to go now because the wife's got laryngitis and I don't want to miss a minute of it. So enjoy yourself. Bye.
Well, there is one more member of the cast that we haven't caught up with just yet.
Someone who's become very famous in Hollywood these days, and you guys haven't seen him for a very long time.
We'll be back to see just who it is in a moment.